And I feel like sort of failed. I haven't got a fuel tank for the car.
I'm still battered as well.
It's got no MOT.
1:43 AM. We're leaving 27 hours.
I just can't do that. Don't have a fuel tank for the car. I feel like a little bit of a failure. Can't find anything. And we're basically running out of time.
This car is taking everything out of me.
Do you really think I'd go through all that effort and not have a backup plan? Come on. I leave in 15 hours. Let's go.
But if you'd watched to the end of the last video, you would already know that. However, for those that didn't, that last video told the story of this BMW E23 that was abandoned in a garage for almost 30 years, surrounded by piles of its own parts. And of course, there was a previous owner that really loved the car and he insisted that he was going to get it back on the road at one point. However, that day never come, and that is a story that we know all too well. That's until I stepped in. And just a few weeks ago now, this BMW went from a very sorry looking 7 Series to something that can now move under its own power. But of course that was not without a bunch of hard work, a lot of late nights, a lot of new parts, a lot of money, and a lot of determination. However, we are now at the point where we can actually drive it to the ferry and continue on with this road trip that we had planned all along. The road trip in question? Well, it's quite a good one. We're going to be starting in Cambridgeshire and we're going to make our way all the way down to the ferry in Dover. Once we've floated into Europe, we're going to be making our way all the way to Poland because we're going to be attending Alt Race. And then the plan from there is pretty freestyle. We're going to make our way through Austria and Switzerland, take a nice long scenic route back to the Mont Classic and anywhere else in between that sort of looks pretty on camera. So, how prepared actually are we? Well, the car itself has done a couple of miles since that last clip you saw outside the workshop, and in that time I did actually manage to get it washed and take it for its first MOT on the history books, and of course it passed with flying colours because everything else underneath is almost brand new. Now you might be thinking you're absolutely mad, and you'd be right because I've only done 30 miles around my local area and maybe up to 60 miles an hour, and I personally think that is more than enough to test the car. So the next morning I headed to Dover and got on that boat.
4 AM yesterday morning, this car drove for the very first time in 30 years. And now I've driven it to Dover, which is about 3 hours, and that is the entirety of the driving that I've had in the car. We're about to start a 3,000 mile journey. How do I get myself into these situations? Right, this is a solo mission, no passengers. Obviously we've got all the guys in the convoy. Today is all about just getting as far as we can. The E23 is doing nicely, holds temp nice, it cruises nice. I just adjusted all the suspension to make it a little bit softer on a couple of bumps. And yeah, today's mission is to just get as far as we can into Germany to get us halfway along the trip, and then hopefully tomorrow we will be at Poland Alt Race for the whole weekend. Yeah, this is basically the first test of this car really. A couple of teething issues, but nothing too drastic. Just looking forward to hopefully making it there in one piece because this last couple of weeks has written me off. So enough rambling. This is the boring part of the journey, so I'm just going to get on with it, and I'll see you at another country. Now at this point, I've been playing how much fuel have I got in my tank all day, and because we have a fuel cell, it means we don't have a fuel gauge, hence the game. Now not only is this game quite fun, it's also more interesting because my mileage trip doesn't seem to read
mileage. So I'm literally guessing. However, we are in a big convoy and the people around me know how many miles we've done. So we can sort of figure it out on the way. And on the way, we were doing absolutely perfectly. The car was almost like it come off the production line. Everything was going smoothly. It was cruising nice. It drove straight. It felt good. It felt like it had enough power to pull you down the motorway on Autobahn speeds. And everything was all good and dandy until... So, we're in traffic for an hour. Over an hour.
It was a long time in traffic.
And it's just... all the cars got a little bit hot.
For like the last 3 hours.
So just
we haven't really had like a solid run of it.
So we're just letting it cool down a little bit. And yeah, I don't have any blowers, so I couldn't even control the heat. And it got to like a minute just before here, and then it started getting a bit too hot. Not in the red, but close enough. So just letting all the cars cool down. Uh-oh. It's all okay, but yeah, it's like 30 degrees. And yeah, we sat in traffic for a long time. Now, what I didn't realise at this point is that something terrible had happened. Now, out of sheer panic, I didn't actually film this next clip, but we let the car cool down and then drove it to the next services where we had to immediately pull over. We've driven 5 minutes up the road and it hasn't fixed it. And it's got worse. So, we're going to take the thermostat out. I don't know why, but it's getting hot. Ah. We're having a problem here. Turns out letting it cool down and topping it up didn't work. And it's pressurising the system straight away.
Was it still boiling up in the...
Yeah, it was boiling up after like 5 minutes of driving. So now we're taking the thermostat out to give us half a chance. And then Lewis has got a fan down there. Yeah, electronic control. Because I think this viscous that I've changed
It's no good.
I don't think it's very good.
Have you tried stopping it while it's running?
Yeah, it's a bit weak.
Well, can you put your hand down and it just stops?
You can't stop it, yeah.
Right, it's doing nothing.
But it was working lovely. Obviously, it's off.
It might just be like a cheap viscous that's just died or something.
It's lasted 400 miles.
I've not got any to hold a fan in, but I've got cable ties. Now at this point we'd only done just over 400 miles in Europe, so we needed to get on and get to our overnight stay, and it was getting late in the day, so everybody jumped in, thankfully, to try and get anything we could done to make our life a lot easier.
And if not, I've got adjustable up to 60.
The seal is mullered.
Is that getting deleted on?
Yeah, that is coming out. Oh, that was lucky. Couldn't do that again.
Nice, man.
Looks old.
What, just burn it.
For the sake of science. Now, with the way the car was reacting, I didn't think the thermostat had failed, but we thought we'd check anyway.
It does work.
No one cares whether
This is proper making it fucking work.
New fan. Thermostat deleted. Put some water in it. Hope for the best. Take this glove away. Stress.
There's no terminal on the black side. Hang on, I'll hold it on if you want to check it.
Right, while I go get some more water, I'll speak about this in a less stressful environment. So, the car has been faultless, doesn't overheat or anything when we're driving. Sitting in traffic for like an hour and the temperature started raising up, and I don't have a blower motor, so I wasn't able to like pull some heat into the cabin to get some heat away from the engine. So it got a little bit hot, didn't even get into the red, and pulled into the services, let it cool down. It leaked a little bit of water out the overflow, but everything was okay. Let it cool down, put some water in it. Seemed to have a lot of bubbles in it. I thought, give it a drive down the road, see if it will sort itself out. Literally like less than a mile to the next services. And now we pulled into here. It's like, right, we'll put an electric fan on it, and we'll pull the thermostat out
and give ourselves half a chance for calling. So I'm just filling up this 5 litre jug of water again, and hopefully we can put water back in this and have a good rest of the journey. But if not, Lewis has got a head gasket tester and we'll test that, because the amount of bubbles that were coming out the header tank was a bit alarming. So I'm not feeling too confident because this is going to ruin the whole trip.
And then they went, yeah, we're not.
Now the reality is, it's getting towards the end of the day. You can already see the sun's gone down in these clips. We've let the car cool down, filled it up with some fresh water from the sink, and we're going to let it run up to temperature again. Hopefully we have a better result, but I think deep down we sort of all knew what was going to happen, but we tried anyway. And as you'll see here, it pressurized straight back up, and if you know anything about engines, that's definitely a head gasket failure waiting to happen, or has happened, shall I say. So without beating around the bush any longer, because I know we was all avoiding it, Lewis brought out a lovely little tool, which is probably the worst tool that you ever want to bring out, but to save us pissing about any longer, we thought, go ahead and give it a try.
Turn it off. Give it a minute though.
You think it's just so much air in it?
No, there's a bit of green in here.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Oh fuck. Where's the bottle of the stuff? Let's just compare it.
It's in the boot. So, long story short, head gasket is gone. We've just sent the lads to get some K-seal so we can at least limp it somewhere that's not services. I am gutted. It must have been on its way out already, the head gasket, and then it's probably the original head gasket for that engine. Lost for words at the minute, but here's what it is. BMWs for you. Starting to go off them, I'll be honest. That's what 50 quid of last resort looks like.
Ditch tongue.
Ditch tongue?
Yeah, have some ditch tongue.
Ditch tongue.
The man at the gas station was like, looked at it and just gave us a thumbs up. Like, oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, it's sparkling. Oh, it's got glitter in it.
It's like a bath bomb.
Oh nice. Round 2. Oh. Now some of you might be screaming at the TV watching me put that in the header tank, but believe me, I did not care what happened. I just wanted to try absolutely every option. However, after following every instruction on that bottle, nothing worked, and we were still at square one and £60 down the drain with some rad weld that we didn't actually need. So, plan of action. Till, with the Type 25 here, his cousin has a farm like 5 minutes away. So we're gonna get on the autobahn, get on the first exit, and see how far I can get before it gets hot, and then we're gonna dump it there, and I'm gonna jump in with someone to go the rest of the way to Alt Race and figure out a plan. We're just gonna get as far as we can, just get off the autobahn, and then after that, if it gets hot, we can pull over, and we've got a tow rope. We're just not allowed to tow on the autobahn, so yeah, we don't want to get in trouble for that. I've already been in trouble in Germany many times, so I don't want to do it again. We're now off the autobahn, and we can now flat tow it to the destination where it will sit. If it's any concern, it pressurized instantly. It's really not happy. That is what you call the toe of shame. And this is where the 7 will reside, on a farm. Where's this farm?
Fucking Gladbeck.
And whose farm is it?
My cousin's.
Your cousin's farm. He's very kind of let us dump it here until we figure out what the situation is. And obviously Till has towed me here in a green machine. And onwards we go.
Without the Beamer.
Without the Beamer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nothing's coming out of it.
No. Still sounds good.
Just pressurising the system. You'd think it would be like water inside the engine and everything, but no. Let's carry on. Thanks, Still.
No worries. That can't be real now, can it?
The brakes have just gone soft in the van, like 2 miles away from where we was.
Talk about bad luck. The guy that drops everything to help everyone out has his van break as soon as I get in. You can't make it up. Literally, it lost 8% of the brakes and we put it down to a dodgy master cylinder. So with it being very late at night and basically about to go dark, nothing is obviously open. So with those little breaks in mind, we limped it to an overnight stay. We went in the car park where the aerial was basically touching the ceiling the entire time. And then woke up bright and early to get the van fixed, and luckily we found a breaker Type 25 in Germany, and that ended up having a master cylinder that we could use. So we got our friend to go get the master cylinder, brought it back to us, put it in, fit it in the car park, everything was all good and dandy, and we got all the way to Alt Race with no more problems after that. And I'm so thankful for Till dropping everything. Sorry for bringing the bad luck to your van, but without you, I don't know what I'd do. So from that point on, we enjoyed Alt Race. There was no point dwelling on it any longer. Have a good time, see some cool cars, and then worry about it at a later date. And let me tell you, Alt Race is one hell of a place, and if you've never been, I suggest you go. But wow, what a place. Anyway, we're not talking about Alt Race anymore because this video isn't about Alt Race, even though I could talk about all the cars that were there all the time. This video is about my road trip in my E23, which hasn't happened. And at this point, we still need to go back to the car to sort it out because I hadn't bought any breakdown cover and I hadn't organised anything. But what I did do was get a lift back to the car from my good friend Russell, and then I decided I'll figure out what to do from there.
So we're on our way back now. Hopefully I can get the E23 recovered. We're gonna go in my mate Russell's Audi A6, and yeah, we've just got a long haul to get the E23. My passport's in the E23. Hopefully I can ring the breakdown cavalry and say pick my car up and I'll get my own way home, and hopefully that's how it all happens. If not, we'll be going to get the E23 in some other way. We'll see how this goes.
At this point, I thought there's no harm in seeing if it's fixed itself, so let's give it a go.
Not bubbling up yet. Seems better than it was.
Now when we left the car, at this point it would be pressurized, boiling over and throwing all its coolant out. However, right now at this point it was actually looking quite promising, and we let it idle for literally like 15 minutes, then 20 minutes, then a little bit longer, and it seemed to just not have any change of how pressurized it was.
Maybe the case seal needed some time to work, because it might be fixed. It's been like nearly 20 minutes of running and it's not hot yet. 25 minutes of running and this is still where it is. Now what? Right, so it's nearly half an hour I've been running and like it still seems fine. So I'm gonna give it a drive around the field and the lanes, put some load under it, and see what it's saying. Because what I'm seeing now is that the K-Seal has fixed it as a temporary measure, which is quite good, I guess. It's running really cold, and because we took the thermostat out, if it was like the head gasket was perfect, that's what would happen. Because you didn't have any thermostat, your car will run a lot colder. So it's acting right now like it normally would, which is confusing, because the other day when we put it in, it didn't want to know. Maybe it's had some time to cure and it's sort of helped. The car's been running for nearly 40 minutes. It's like 33 degrees today. It's not going above like quarter, so it's working. It's not pressurized. I just took the cap off the top of the expansion tank. Nothing wrong with it, and we're gonna drive it home. We've got 300 kilometers. 400 kilometers to do, which means we should be able to get to the ferry at like midnight. I'm gonna take it easy, but yeah, I've driven up the road. It seems fine. It honestly seems fine. Obviously, it's a temporary measure, so we'll have to take it easy. Don't blow out any of the cobwebs. Very nervous now to drive the rest of the way. This is actually scary. I put the overflow pipe on the wiper right there, so I can see if it's starting to get really, really hot, and I'll just pull over straight away. But obviously we've got the temp gauge. I've got this fan which we've wired in. Tills took the switch, which is fine, but if I hold them together, the fan, extra fan that we put on in the services, that sort of kicks on and it seems to work. So we've got a lot of precautions here, and yeah, let's go for it. I'm gonna stop rambling now. I've got a sick feeling in my stomach, but I think we can do this. We are officially on the way. 250 miles to Calais. Let's go. Now, with a full tank and a hint of confidence, we did the speed run to Calais. Now, I obviously knew that I was in a ticking time bomb and I was trying to take it easy. However, I also wanted to get there because we were trying to get to the ferry in time. Now, this ticking time bomb could have gone at any point, but to our surprise, and considering the temperature was about 30 to 33 degrees the entire journey, it was running super cool the entire time, and it gave us absolutely no issue, and I was absolutely chuffed to bits. However, it was still getting late and we needed to get to the ferry, and we did put our foot down a little bit towards the end as the sun was coming down. But man, I can't believe it's happened. This feels better. I just had to spend £62 amending my booking fee because I'm an entire week too early. Unfortunately, we are a little late, and the next ferry is at 2:30 a.m. Now, if you told me 3 days before this that I would be driving the car back and getting on the ferry under its own power, I'd have laughed in your face. However, Sonax, you've done some serious bits here, because that car has given us no issue whatsoever. And just as a disclaimer, there is no oil or water mixing in the engine. There is absolutely no coolant going into the engine, so I wasn't worried about it being contaminated. However, I was keeping an eye on it. So, onto the ferry, get some horrible grub at 2:30 in the morning, and head on back to the UK. So, 3:45 in the morning. We're in the UK now, and I'm on my own. Russell's gone home. think they said it was going to be sound, but there it be. I did not think I would be doing this journey, especially getting this far. This isn't going to get home at 6:30 in the morning. So with that, 6:30 in the morning, hopefully there's no traffic I run into, but it's going to be full on daylight by the time I do get home. Let's go. It's 6:30 in the morning. And just like that, we are back to where this journey started, right outside the workshop. Now, this car, ever since we've got back, has been dailied by me every day. And it still works. Now, this is not even a sponsorship for Sonax, but that product is seriously good because you saw how well the coolant wasn't staying in the engine, and now it's faultless. And I've done probably around 1,000 miles since we put that stuff in, and nothing has changed. It's just sort of working as a normal BMW 7 Series would. Obviously it's running a little bit colder because we don't have the thermostat in. However, everything else is perfect, so it leaves me in a sort of a bit of a predicament now of what to do with the car. Now, my initial plan for this car was to obviously get it back on the road, do this amazing story, make a good couple of videos with it, and obviously enjoy the car in the process. That's pretty much what I do with all my cars. I sort of justify it because I'm filming it for YouTube, but realistically, a lot of it is just for the love of the game. However, the plan was to do all that, and as you know, I have 4 million cars. And I was going to basically get this done and then offer it to be raffled and let one of you guys win it, which is what I sort of took into consideration when I was building the car. So I didn't go any crazy wheels, crazy lowering, stretch tires, anything like that. I built it in a way where everyone that watches the video can actually appreciate it because it's just a really, really nice car. And I think an E23, this condition, I know it's not the best paintwork wise, but it will be when we polish it up. But yeah, it's a really, really cool car, and if you could win it for a tenner, I'm sure you'd be pretty happy. However, it would be morally incorrect if I was to give the car away with an engine full of Sonax, Radweld, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not going to do that. So we need to fix that issue, even though currently it's not an issue. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Now, options are new engine, replacement engine, which is known to be running, or fix the head gasket. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with this yet because I've actually researched it a bit more, and M30s, the engines, they can suffer with hairline cracks near the bolts of the head, and that might even be a potential why this has gone. I don't know, but it is pretty common for head gaskets to go. Apparently when this car was parked, the engine was pulled apart to do a preventative head gasket. So it's common, even back in the 80s when this car was pulled apart. So yeah, the car itself is working. For how long, I don't know. Now, this is something that we need to find out. I really, really want to know how far that Sonax is going to last. Now, I've spoken to a few people that have had this sort of issue in the past, and they've said a week, a month, sometimes maybe years. Realistically, it's mileage dependent, isn't it? So I need to put a lot more miles than 1,000 miles on it. Is it going to last much longer than that? I don't know. However, there's a lot of trips that I need to do within the UK to collect parts, see things, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to take this. So the next episode is probably going to be, how long is this car going to last with a broken head gasket? I'm sure we'll find out in the very near future. But for now, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry I couldn't make the whole road trip. I did make it back, so it kind of was a success. But as you saw, this video might have been quite short at the beginning because I was expecting to get a lot further, so I barely filmed anything up to the point of us breaking down. Even at the ferry in the morning, I had like 2 clips, so I was so underprepared to break down, but it is what it is. On that note, I'm going to stop rambling on. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one, and there's obviously going to be more content on this car because we need to fix it and make sure it's good for one of you guys. So make sure you subscribe. We're nearly at 50k, very close. I can almost taste it. And yeah, don't do what I do. Be sensible. Get a proper daily. Don't do this. Goodbye.